In my last video, I did talk about the new direction that the writer has taken, and that I thought it was a good choice for the story. But seeing the latest episode, I'm not so sure. Episode 8 was great. It did exceed my expectations by a lot. I would say it is the best episode so far. Here's the thing, about the new direction which I did talk about in more detail in my previous video, but to summarize it, the main character is Moriarty instead of Sherlock, and the focus of the story is not the crime mysteries and solving them, but what is creating them. So the main focus is society, and that's why Moriarty's goal is to change the way society operates. And all of that sounds great. I was 100% on board. And then I did watch episode 8, and things did change a lot. So much so that this episode seems like the first episode of the story. That's how it is structured. And the weird thing here is that in the books and the TV series, that's how the story begins. And that's why it is so weird, but not in a bad way. It just seems like there are two stories into one, and I am very intrigued. I wonder how the people who have not read the books or watched the TV series did react to episode 8. Did you guys have the same reaction as me, or it was normal, just another episode? Let me know in the comments. One of the things that did surprise me in this episode is how Sherlock was handled. One of the reasons why I did like the idea of Moriarty being the main character is that I thought it would be a lot more fun with him as the main character. Since he doesn't have the restrictions that Sherlock has, Moriarty makes his own rules. And that was the case to a degree in the story so far. There were some interesting and funny scenes with Moriarty. But I think because the tone of the story is very serious, that did limit things for Moriarty. And after seeing episode 8, the way how Sherlock was handled, I did expect Moriarty to be handled, and not vice versa. Sherlock in this episode was very cheerful, energetic, and it seems like he's enjoying life. The scenes and the dialogue with other characters were fun and intriguing. I also like the way how Watson has been handled. I said in my previous video that I was wondering how Watson will be portrayed. I think the movies did a better job with him than the TV series, and based on what I saw so far, the anime did just as good of a job as the movies, and also has the potential to surpass them. When I saw Miss Hudson being young and screaming at Sherlock, I burst out laughing. That was a great surprise. This is the first time I've seen Miss Hudson young. Both in the movies and the TV series, she's an old lady, and presumably in the books as well, since the author did not go into details. Anyway, I really like the manga version of Miss Hudson. I think it is a very interesting addition to the story and changes the dynamic among Sherlock, Watson and her for the better. If I were to compare this trio with the trio of Moriarty and his brothers, I would say that the former is better. But what do you guys think? Which trio do you prefer? For me, I think the dynamic among Sherlock, Watson and Miss Hudson is a lot better. And one of the reasons for that is due to them being different characters. Each brings something different to the table. They are designed separately as characters. Nothing connects them. They don't have blood ties or have the same profession, and that's why they can stand each on their own. And the scenes with them are a lot more interesting and dynamic. And I cannot say the same with Moriarty and his brothers, and that is due to how the story is written. All three of them in a way are one character. Since it is all about their goal, all three of them share the same point of view. There is not that much difference among them, and thus the writer is limited to what he can do with them. One thing that I was critical of the story was that the cases were not the focal point of the story, and I understand why. As I said before, that the new direction that the writer has taken is all about the society. But still, the cases could have been done better. And also some of the deductions were not explained, and if you don't explain them, they mean nothing. And in this episode, that did change. The case was great, and also the deductions. It really felt like reading a crime mystery from Conan Doyle. Part of the appeal of the story is you as a reader or viewer trying to solve the case. And at one point you think this character is the killer, and then you think someone else based on what is happening with the case. And this is very fun. And the best cases are the ones where the killer is someone that you did not suspect at all. Anyway, at the end of the episode we saw that this case has a mastermind behind it, and that is great. It would be epic if the writer will keep both points of view in the story, Sherlock's point of view and Moriarty's, and switch between them depending on what the story requires, because both of them are very interesting and it would make for an epic story. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.